Hi everyone, MR Assassin here, and welcome back to Brain Booster, the show where we discuss the latest news on science, technology, gaming, and other brain-boosting topics. We are right smack dab in the middle of July 2019. Now let's begin. For our first topic, there are more than 25 million Android devices that are infected with a newly discovered malware, nicknamed Agent Smith. This malware makes its way through sketchy apps and then looks for common apps and replaces it with malicious versions, which then collects banking information and is used for spying. It was primarily found in India, where there's like 15 million devices infected, but there are 300,000 devices affected in the US. Its main method of distribution is third-party app stores like 9apps. The writers of the malware originate from China, and they did try to expand to the Google Play Store, but Google removed the malicious software, so it's fine on Google Play Store. It relies on vulnerabilities that were actually patched several years ago, but some app developers haven't updated their software, so they don't have the security to utilize that fix. If you want to know more about this Agent Smith, I will provide a link in the description, and it'll list some of the affected apps. Not a whole lot to discuss for this article, just obviously you have to be pretty careful if you're installing apps from third-party app stores, because stuff like this happens. For our next topic, there's a company called Demetrix. Anyways, they got $50 million in funding to continue research of isolating and brewing cannabinoids. So the US Food and Drug Administration approved a drug based on a cannabinoid. When I first read this article, I was thinking, what? Brewing? Weed beer? Glug, 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 glug. But I'm pretty sure what they mean by brewing is just using a yeast to produce the cannabinoids, not alcohol. And then the cannabinoids can then be used to create medicines like pills or lotions or, I don't know, medical things. It is still cheaper to extract the chemicals from the plant itself, but further research on the more rare cannabinoids can make brewing the chemicals more appealing. They say that they've assembled a team of industry veterans and built a scalable technology platform, and we're working with global regulatory organizations to quickly commercialize. So I'm happy for this company that they got funding and they're doing this research. So it's still illegal in many states to have access to cannabis or whatever. So it's kind of cool to be able to get the medical benefits of cannabis without actually having the plant. It's probably still going to be many years before we see this type of thing on the market, but it's good that there's research going on. For our next topic, there is a skull discovered in Greece that's 210,000 years old. This is the earliest evidence of human migration out of Africa, and prompting scientists to reconsider the story of how our species spread throughout the planet. This skull means that they moved 16,000 years earlier than previously thought. They're seeing evidence of human dispersals that aren't just limited to one major exodus, but several dispersals. The skull was actually discovered 40 years ago in Greece's Apodema cave, and it was found 30 centimeters away from another skull. We'll get to that later. The Museum of Anthropology at the University of Athens invited the study lead, Katerina Harvadi, from Germany, to use her expertise in imaging and 3D virtual reconstruction to bring both of these skulls to life. One of the skulls belonged to a Neanderthal from 170,000 years ago, and the other skull that was 30 centimeters away had features of a modern human and was dated 40,000 years before the Neanderthals. It's a little strange that they found these skulls so close together, but one of them is 40,000 years older than the other. Like, did the Neanderthal found a human skull and then hid it in his cave and then he died right beside it? So this skull discovery is making people contemplate some new questions, like what caused this early dispersal compared to what we originally knew, and were there any technological advances that enabled such a far geographic intrusion into Europe? If you're a PC enthusiast, you'll probably be excited about this new topic. There's been a data leak that shows some pretty reliable data about the next 10th gen Intel processors. Its nickname is Comet Lake-S. This next CPU will get support on LGA 1200 socket. It will have up to 10 cores and it will have 125 watt TDP, and it's planned to release in 2020. There's actually 2 desktop roadmaps that were revealed by the data leak. There's also the Cascade Lake-X processors, which will have up to 18 cores and 165 watt TDP. on the LGA 2066 socket, which is the X299 platform. And then there's the Comet Lake-S, which is based on the 14 nanometer ++ process node. It's planned to launch around New Year's of 2020. And the Comet Lake-S lineup will replace the entire Coffee Lake refresh stack, which is the 9th gen. And these CPUs have 49 more pins than the existing LGA 1151 socket, so these won't be compatible with the current boards. The platform will support 125 watt for enthusiast, 65 watt for the mainstream, and 35 watt for low power processors. So unlike AMD, Intel isn't pushing towards the PCIe Gen 4 just yet, but they are planning to offer more PCIe lanes compared to AMD's Ryzen 3000 X570 platform. The platform details mention 46 I/O lanes, 30 of which will be provided by the chipset. The CPUs will still feature 16 PCIe lanes, but the PCH will boast a higher number. There will be 24 PCIe 3.0 lanes. The block diagram that was provided seems to suggest that the DDR4 2666 native compatibility will be retained. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer AMD or Intel. I personally am a fan of AMD lately. My PC is running on an AMD processor. The gaming laptop I bought though is an Intel chip, but I find for my PC builds I prefer AMD, mainly because of cost. I seem to get more bang for my buck if I buy AMD. But what are your thoughts? Let me know. For our last topic, YouTube is adding ways for creators to make money. So the company is looking for more ways to become less reliant on sometimes uncertain advertising deals. The new features include more subscription options, additional merchandise partners, and another way to receive tips during live streams. YouTube announced that more than 90,000 channels use Super Chat, with some streams pulling in more than $400 per minute. Obviously not me. So as mentioned, YouTube is adding more merch partners for creators to work with. So YouTubers who partner with Crowdmade, DFTBA, Fanjoy, Represent, and Rooster Teeth will be able to embed a box below their video where viewers can browse the products they offer. Their goal is to create opportunities for its creators to build a community, then also of course opportunities to build a real global business. So Neil Mohan, the YouTube's chief product officer, he said that YouTubers that are earning 5 or 6 figures a year on YouTube have grown 40% year over year. They are trying to refine the monetization practices to let creators better tailor their experiences to fans. They also mentioned in the presentation that they're working on fixing some hateful behavior that has arisen in Super Chat, for example. I'm glad to hear that they're working on some improvements, and I've heard in the past that advertising revenue is not that great, so just to open more windows of opportunity for YouTubers out there, I'm glad to hear that there's a little bit more of a consistent revenue for them. But that is it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to keep up to date with the latest tech news, consider hitting that subscribe button. Your brain has now been boosted. Moi moi.